Today we're reading reference out of As Bill Sees It to self-pity. Michael is going to start with a reading on 138, which is very close to his heart.
Okay, we start with page 138, Two Roads for the Old-Timer. The founders of many groups ultimately divide into two classes known in AA slang as elder statesmen and bleeding deacons. The elder statesman sees the wisdom of the group's decision to run itself and holds no resentment over his reduced status. His judgment, fortified by considerable experience, is sound. He is willing to sit quietly on the sidelines, patiently awaiting developments. The bleeding deacon is just as surely convinced that the group cannot get along without him. He constantly connives for re-election to office and continues to be consumed with self-pity. Nearly every old-timer in our society has gone through the process, who has gone through this process in some degree. Happily, most of them survive and live to become elder statesmen. They become the real and permanent leadership of AA.
Okay, 176. Domination and demand. The primary fact that we fail to recognize is our total inability to form a true partnership with another human being. Our egomania digs two disastrous pitfalls. Either we insist upon dominating the people we know, or we depend upon them far too much. If we lean too heavily on people, they will sooner or later fail us, for they are human too, and cannot possibly meet our incessant demands. In this way, our insecurity grows and festers. When we habitually try to manipulate others to our own willful desires, they revolt and resist us heavily. Then we develop hurt feelings and a sense of persecution and a desire to retaliate. My dependency meant demand, a demand for the possession and control of the people and the conditions surrounding me. 238.
238, maudlin martyrdom. Oh my goodness. Self-pity is one of the most unhappy and consuming defects that we know. It is a bar to all spiritual progress and can cut off all effective communication with our fellows because of its inordinate demands for attention and sympathy. It is a maudlin form of martyrdom which we can ill afford. The remedy? Well, let's have a hard look at ourselves, and still a harder one at AA's 12 Steps to Recovery. When we see how many of our fellow AAs have used the steps to transcend great pain and adversity, we shall be inspired to try these life-giving principles for ourselves.
261. Fearless and searching. My self-analysis has frequently been faulty. Sometimes I've failed to share my defects with the right people. At other times, I've confessed their defects rather than my own. And at still other times, my confession of defects has been more in the nature of loud complaints about my circumstances and my problems. When AA suggests a fearless moral inventory, it must seem to every newcomer that more is being asked of him than he can do. Every time he tries to look at himself, pride says, "You need not pass this way," and fear says, "You dare not look." But pride and fear of this sort turn out to be boogeymen, nothing else. Once we have a complete willingness to take inventory and exert ourselves to do the job thoroughly, a wonderful light falls upon this foggy scene. As we persist, a brand new kind of confidence is born, and the sense of relief at finally facing ourselves is indescribable.
268, those other people. Just like you, I have often thought myself the victim of what other people say and do. Yet, every time I confess the sins of such people, especially those whose sins did not correspond exactly with my own, I found that I only increased the total damage. My own resentment, my self-pity would often render me well nigh useless to anybody. So nowadays, if anyone talks of me so as to hurt, I first ask myself, is there any truth at all in what they say? If there is none, I try to remember that I too have had my periods of speaking bitterly of others. That hurtful gossip is but a symptom of our remaining emotional illness, and consequently, that I must never be angry at the unreasonableness of sick people. Under very trying conditions, I have had again and again to forgive others, also myself. Have you recently tried this?
And our final reading today, 320, running the whole show. Most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like an actor who wants to run the whole show and is forever trying to arrange the lights, the scenery, and the rest of the players in his own way. If his arrangements would only stay put, if only people would do as he wished, the show would be great. What usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. Is he not really a self-seeker even though he is trying to be useful? Is he not a victim of the illusion that he can only wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well?